Hi loves, hope you're well, hope you had a nice Easter. I literally just eaten an entire large chocolate mini egg, Easter egg before I started recording. So unnecessary. I feel like a ham hock. I literally feel like a joint of pork. I'm going out, which is why I'm super dressed up. I'm in this tight jumpsuit and I knew I wouldn't want to wear it. Like even when I came back, I knew it was going to be Easter weekend, that I was going to be eating loads and I knew I would feel like a joint of ham in it. But did I do anything about it? No, I actually wanted to bring another outfit. I just didn't have the time or the energy last week, right? Stay with me because I know you're going to think I'm nuts. But last week was a lunar eclipse, yeah? And I don't know if it's because I kept Sonia on TikTok, so like subconsciously I was like, you're going to have a bad week. But I did have a bad week. I literally at one point, it was like 1:30 after the weekend. I think it was because I'd been to Dubai. Then my friend came up. I was out all weekend. Not like when you just don't stop. And then it just all built up and it resulted in me like having champagne and orange juice in the middle of the day. Like lunchtime, I was like, I need to go and have a bath. I need to put a face mask on. I need to have an alcoholic beverage and try and chill out because, yeah, I think it was because of the mow and bonos. Anyway, I just didn't have the time or energy to pack another outfit. So here I am, ready to go out. It's my friend's birthday. So we're going out to Cardiff. I'm back in Wales. I came back for Easter. And well, basically the whole thing's a bit of a disaster, really. I'm not wearing what I'm comfy in. I wanted to do a smoky eye look because Beyonce released Cowboy Carter this weekend. And oh my God, it's been a journey. You know how much I love her. Me and the girls stayed up because my friend lives in San Diego, as you know. So she... basically the music came out at midnight your local time and she's 8 hours behind, so we were like, we have to listen to it all together. We did that with Renaissance as well, so we did like a group call, stayed up all together and listened to it live, and I've just been listening to it non-stop since. I absolutely love it. But Beyonce released this picture, it's for W Mag, and she just had this really smoky eye look and I was like, I need that eye makeup look to go out this weekend. It reminded me, right, when I was younger, this is how old I am. When I was younger, I remember seeing this picture of Ashley Olsen in a magazine and I remember like vividly, she had a black feather dress on, her hair was like up and messy and she had this really intense dark smoky eye makeup look, and I remember cutting it out and saving it like in my makeup drawer because I was so old. Like you couldn't have Pinterest then, you couldn't just go on Google and like pull up some inspo photo. I literally had a hard copy of this photo from a magazine and I kept it in this drawer for months, probably years. And then when I would go out, I would like try and copy it. So it just took me back to that and I was like, oh, I'm excited to try that. I love doing makeup looks. I forgot my eyeshadow blending brush and my eyeshadow and my eye pencil. This is so boring, I'm sorry. It's just what's on my mind. I forgot it. Thought my mother might pull through and I was like, I've got stuff. No, her makeup bag was given like Avon 2001 or something. No offence to her. So yeah, this is what I was stuck with. I'm not feeling my best, but never mind. I have a lot more to offer than what I look like. It is funny though, because like I said, I'm home and, you know, I did that episode last week, which I'm not even going to mention because I'm still in two minds to whether or not to take it down. So I'm not even going to talk about what I actually spoke about, but it was so funny because I came downstairs and earlier and my mother was like, well, I've listened to your podcast. And I was like, oh God, she's going to have a go at me for, you know, the thing. No, she didn't say any of that. She just said, well, I've had a listen and I can guess who the OnlyFans boy is. Is it so-and-so? So I said, oh my God, yeah. And she said, and I bet the boy that always kept on at you for the dishwasher and stuff was so-and-so. And she literally guessed my two exes, like spot on. It really made me laugh. Anyway, I heard the craziest story this week that I've got to share with you, okay? So this woman moved from America to somewhere in Europe to be with this guy, right? They fell in love, they lived together, they had a dog together, and then after however many years, they broke up. So she wanted to move back to America, but by this point, her dog was really old, and she said, like, he wouldn't make the plane home. He wasn't very well and stuff. So she went on TikTok and just said, is there anyone that can help? Explain the situation. This pilot of a private jet got in touch with her, right? He was from Germany and said, I've got a flight that goes from Germany to Newark, and I can take you. So she was like, okay, great. So she gets on this private plane with the dog, gets back safely, and then she realises that as she's on this journey, she kind of likes the pilot and he kind of likes her. So she says, why didn't you come to California to see me again, and, you know, let's hang out. So he goes and stays with her for 10 days, and now they've fallen in love. She has fallen in love and she's in a relationship with a pilot that brought her home after a breakup. Like, is that not just the definition of what's meant to be will be? Because imagine going through a breakup and the dog and feeling so sad and feeling like I'm on the other side of the world, I gotta get home. And then quite literally a knight in shining armour in a private jet, no less, like, you go girl, comes through and takes her now, and now they're in a relationship. I absolutely loved it. My friend sent it to me on TikTok, and I thought it was a really nice story. I did want to get my friends on this week. I know when I asked for episode ideas ages ago that one of you asked for like a little episode of my girls from Wales, and I wanted to, but they're all on a hen party. They're all on a hen party in Aberystwyth, so nobody's here. So I'm sorry, it is just me again. But I do actually really want to get some guests on. I've been thinking about this for a while, that it is like just me every week. So yeah, I do need to get some guests on. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I've had an outfit and makeup change, just because I stopped recording yesterday and I went out. I was running a bit late. I was also a little bit evil, and I could tell my mood wasn't off all day, but I could tell it was starting to take a turn. I don't really know why. So I drove to pick up my friend, and on the way I passed these two guys who are really good friends with my ex. Literally the ex that I was talking about in the last episode. Like, the chances, I mean, to be fair, the chances pretty slim because I'm in the valleys, but still, I haven't seen these boys or passed these boys in person for years. And then the week after I announced to the world that their friend gave me an STI, I drive past them. Now, these guys used to be my friends because obviously I'm going back years when we were younger, and we all used to bother in a really big group, and I was friends with these guys. Well, I drove past them in the car, and when I tell you, I glared at them. Like, glared. Or I pretty much gave them stinking looks for absolutely no good reason. And in that moment, I was like, your mood's a little bit off and you need to check yourself, because you're going out and these boys haven't done a single bad thing to you. They were probably like, was that Sadie? Like, what is her problem? I was literally like staring. I didn't just like pretend I couldn't see them and look forward. No, I stared into their souls. And I chose violence, and I don't know why. So anyway, yeah, it was a little bit of a mixture of both, but I went out and then got to my friends, because I actually drove last night, because getting from the valleys to Cardiff is a hassle, and because I'm not on, as you know, not I want to keep talking about it every single week, but because I'm not on like a steaming vibe now, I was like, it's just not worth the hassle of getting a taxi. My friend lives like half hour away from me. It'd be a big detour. I was like, wherever, I'm just going to drive. So I drove last night for a night out in Cardiff. I was out for 8 hours, guys, sober. And when I say sober, I mean literally on water. Not even soft drinks, because I just didn't fancy one. So I was on actual tap water with ice for 8 hours. I need a medal. I went to sleep at 4 a.m. I was the only sober one of the group. And to be fair, I did really well, but I think I was ready to wrap it up about 2 or 3 hours before everybody else, because when you're sober, I just got tired and hungry. Like, did I still have chips at the end of the night? Absolutely. But that's all I really wanted. I wanted dinner and bed. But anyway, so I drove down, picked up my friend, and as I'm getting to a road, like, her house is like off the back of the main road. Oh my God, I'm just realising the state of the room behind me. Like, for somebody that claims they have OCD, the fact that I'm sitting in this mess, but it's since I've come home. When I come home, I don't know what happens to me. I just revert back to being like a teenager. And not even that, because as a teenager, I've always cleaned my room and tidied my room. If you'd seen the mess, actually, that I'm sat in, I just like come home and it's like I just give up all responsibilities. Like, everything just goes. I just don't have any worries. I haven't cooked myself a meal. I haven't washed any dishes. I don't put anything away. I don't unpack anything. I just live in squalor for a weekend. So sorry about that. Bed isn't made, but there's cushions everywhere. Anyway, as I was saying, I was driving down to my friend's, yeah, and as I'm driving on the road, I could see this little Shih Tzu, and I was like, that's gotta be Buddy. They've got 2 Shih Tzus, Buddy and Belle, and I was like, that's gotta be them. That's gotta be Buddy. Escaped. So I panicked. So I pulled over straight away on the main road, like didn't go into a drive. And I was like screaming at him, stay, because I was across the road. And I thought, if he runs over now and gets run over in front of me, can you imagine? Oh my God, I would never recover. So I was shouting at him to stay wherever. Anyway, I pick him up, and for such a small Shih Tzu, he weighs a ton. He's really heavy, and I'm in my heels, obviously. And then my friend's auntie comes out, like, is that Buddy? Oh my God, is that Sadie? Like, it was all like chaos, right? So, because he was heavy and I was in heels, I thought I can't walk him all the way round because he was heavy, and I just didn't think I'd make it. And I didn't want to put him back down on the ground, obviously, in case he didn't run in the house and he ran back out into the road. So I was like, I'll just cross this greenery, like a little bit of almost like a field. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. I had gold heels on with like the tiniest front strap, like most of my foot was exposed. This field was pure mud. And when I say mud, I'm not talking dry mud. I'm talking like Jennifer Lopez documentary. Squishy, squelchy mud, which I didn't notice until it was all too late and it was all in between my toes. Oh, it was borderline up to my ankles. It was so messy. I crossed over and I was like, I can't come any further. I had to walk back and wait until their auntie, bless her, walked all the way across the field. Her trainers were absolutely ruined. To come and collect the dog for me. My friend's mother was on the doorstep. She's having a meltdown. She's having a meltdown. So it was just chaos, really. From, well, the night out wasn't chaos. It was quite, well, I say tame for me because I was sober. Everyone else was so drunk. And quite early on in the night, one of the girls was like, oh, does it annoy you that we're all drunk? I was like, no, not at all. I can't even tell you're drunk. And then as the night went on, I was like, oh, everyone is steaming. But it was all fine, to be fair. Although, can you tell me, why do men always feel the need to be the knight in shining armour if you're sat somewhere alone? Like, I know I'm going to get hate and it's not all men and all that, but I'm sat with my friend, fine. She goes to the bathroom. I stay with the drinks, okay? So I'm sat there. My phone battery had gone because one thing about me is my phone battery will die 3 to 4 times a day, even though it's the biggest inconvenience to me. It's caused me so much hassle, like lest we forget San Diego when I was stuck outside for 4 hours. But the girl will not charge her phone. I simply will just let it run out. I just don't care enough. That's the long and short of it. So my battery went. And as my friend left, I was thinking to myself, oh no, I'm going to be sat now in a club alone, no armour on my phone, nothing to hide behind. And I was honestly just waiting for people to pounce. And pounce they did. And look, the first guy was quite nice. He was like, oh, I don't want you to think anything now. I just want to check, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I get it if I was sat there upset and stuff. But sir, I'm just sat alone. You've seen me with my friend. You've literally been in the same place. You know I'm with her. You know she hasn't left me because I'm sat with her drinks and her bag and her coat and all the rest of it. So I just don't believe that you care that I'm okay. I think you just want to come over and chat to me. There, I said it. In the least big-headed sounding way. But if you're a girl, you will understand this. And I just think men get so annoyed because they never understand it. If a man is sat alone, unless he's like in tears or visible distress, there's no way a woman's going over and checking he's okay, because he quite clearly is okay. Like, I love to dance. I will dance by myself. I really don't care about dancing by myself. If there's a song I like, I'll dance. I didn't want to dance, so I just sat there. I didn't have my phone. So I was just sat there, like minding my own business, just getting along my jolly way. So the first guy comes over, are you okay? Yeah. Oh, I don't want you to think anything, I'm just checking, are you okay? Like really, really concerned for me. I was like, I'm fine, my friend's just gone to the bathroom. You've actually probably just seen her walk there, I'm fine. Then the second guy comes over, oh, are you okay? Come and dance with me. No. Oh, why? Why didn't you want to dance? I was like, I just don't want to. I don't want to dance. Oh, come on. Would not leave me alone. pointing to the place on the dance floor where he was wanted me to go. There. Like I was some sort of dog. I was like, mate, I honestly would rather sit here alone than go and dance there like some performing monkey for you. No, I don't want to dance for you or with you or in front of you. Okay, you go down here then and I'll go there. I was like, no. He's like, oh, why? I was looking in his eyes. I was like, I don't want to. Like, why do men feel the need to come and rescue us? Because I was fine by myself, and then 5 minutes later my friend came back and then I was okay again. Just annoying. I'll probably get loads of hate for that from the men, because the men love to hate. All the haters I get on TikTok, Facebook anyway, they're all men. But it's because they don't understand. Because like I said, a girl just wouldn't do that unless you're in distress. Like if I was crying and stuff, fair enough. I'm just sat here trying to enjoy my night. I don't want to dance to this song, so let me live, please. Okay, let me read one of the DMs from you guys this week. So, hi Sadie, I was listening to this week's episode 107, about the girl who's 31 and worried she's going to be alone forever. Oh my God, before I met my partner, that was me. Every word she said spoke to me so vividly, I can't even explain. So just as a backup, this was episode 107, if you haven't listened to it, and there was this girl saying that she's so happy by herself and she loves her life and she's got friends and she feels really fulfilled, but she said she hates herself for saying and thinking it, but she feels like she's going to be single forever and she's really sad about it. And she's just on about like meeting people and not clicking with anyone and just like generally feeling like her dating life is a bit rubbish, and then feeling sad for it, but then also feeling annoyed at herself for feeling sad for it. So I think it's something most people can relate to at some point of their lives. And this girl said, for the majority of my 20s, I describe myself as chronically single. I'd done the uni dating, meeting guys on nights out, and the Tinder, Bumble, Plenty of Fish apps, etc. I had great fun, lots of dates, but nothing ever seemed to click. Meanwhile, every single one of my best friends from school were all either engaged, married, or living with a guy. And by the time we were 25, 2 of them were pregnant. Wow, that's young, isn't it? That's a young friend group to go and do all of that. I literally thought I was going to be the single pal forever. Then, the summer of 2018, I was having the time of my life. I was still living the chronically single life, but I was dating a couple of guys. Admittedly, not that interested in any of them, and it was nothing more than dinner and drinks, but I was generally quite happy with my life. My best friend had been with her boyfriend for 5 years and kept talking about a friend of her boyfriend's and how I should meet him. Right away, I was like, nope, if you're trying to set me up, I'm not interested. I was genuinely completely happy with my life and wasn't interested in a boyfriend. Also, I think it's so risky to get set up by something like that, because if it goes pear-shaped, then it can be quite awkward in the group, can't it? However, 1, 2, skip a few. I've never heard that before. Is that meant to rhyme? Is that my accent? What? Why would an English person say that? 1, 2, skip a few. Yeah, I think that's meant to rhyme. Cute. Okay, sorry. Sorry, let me backtrack. So we're friends trying to get her set up with her boyfriend's friend. However, we met coincidentally on a night out and just clicked. 6 years later, we now own a house together and have spent the last few months in Australia with his work. We have been through plenty of highs and lows, but I can honestly say I've never felt more content and happy in my entire life. But what made me want to write in was that I was that girl. I think for most of my 20s, I was completely uncomfortable with the fact I was single and everyone around me was in a relationship, engaged or married. But looking back now, I have no regrets. I never missed any uni or social events. I travelled lots of the world with friends, and generally I had a bloody brilliant time. I do think if I had a boyfriend during that time in my life, it may have stopped me from doing some of the things I did. Not because any of the guys I'd ever been dating had been controlling or anything, but just because I think when you have a partner, you always have them to consider or plans you have to make when they may take priority. So my advice to the girls out there would be, it'll happen when you least expect it. I know this is cliche, but I genuinely believe it. I wish I could go back and tell my younger self not to worry so much and stop getting upset about being the last single pal, because I can tell you now my boyfriend was absolutely worth the wait. I absolutely love the pod. I listen every week. I'm more than happy for you to share this. I love that. That is such a good message for everyone and anyone who's single and is sad about it, because I don't believe anyone is single forever by choice. Like, there's absolutely no way. I always think if you really want a partner that bad because you don't want to be lonely, you'll get with somebody, you'll just settle. So if you're single because you haven't met somebody, then firstly, hats off to you, because it means you're not willing to settle with anybody and you'd rather be by yourself. So firstly, you need to praise yourself for that, because that shows, as unhappy as you think you might be, your life is obviously good, because you don't want somebody to come and disrupt it. You don't want to settle for somebody because you know your standard is high enough. Do you get me? So firstly, you've got to praise yourself for that. And also just the timing. This is what I said in the episode 107. I think when your friends or all the people around you are at a different stage and they are married, pregnant, whatever, I think it just adds such a lot of pressure on you. And it can really take you out to the present moment. That's what I think. Like, I always talk about my 25th birthday, because I did honestly have a meltdown. Not because I was single, it was all career focused. But that was the same thing. Like, we put so much pressure on ourselves, I think especially in our 20s, that we've got to have everything like set out and you've got to have a plan, and it's like this race to 30. That's how I felt anyway. Between 25 to 30 was almost like a messy race of trying to get everything sorted, but also, like I've said before, I obviously didn't want to get myself sorted that much because I would have otherwise. Instead, I chose to like have a bit of a crazy time and fun. And now I look back, like she said, and I have no regrets because everything does work out. So it's just hard when you're in it, you can't really see that and you can't talk sense to yourself. And also, I said before, if you're lucky, when you meet the right person, that's it forever. So I might have said this story before as well, but there was a clip I saw on TikTok of an older woman, and it was the interviewer was asking her, like, if you could go back, what would you change, or do you have any regrets or whatever? And she said she wouldn't have rushed to get married and buy a house so soon, because she said when we did that, that was it, like forever. We had all these responsibilities and then we had children, and as happy as that is, your life does change. And she said if I could go back, I wouldn't have rushed to do that, and I would have enjoyed my 20s and 30s a little bit more and done all the selfish things and got all those out of the way. But there is always a pressure in there to meet somebody and settle down, and I do think people are just in a rush. Like, I always used to say when I was in my 20s, you know, I'd meet people and I liked them, but they weren't the one. I always used to say, I don't want a boyfriend now, I just want to know that I will find him, like I will find my person. If I could have a magic ball now, and then it would just take the stress away. But really, I could have just taken the stress away anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. I know the sound messed up for a little bit then. Obviously, I've got a different setup when I'm recording you, and my microphone unplugged, and I didn't notice. And I'm really, really sorry. Yeah, I know that's super annoying. And usually I would like re-record that, but then I just feel like it would never sound as authentic, and I'd probably like miss some bits. So I've just let it in, you know, learning to live with imperfections and all that. Stuff happens, shit happens. So I'm sorry. Thank you for sticking around. If you watch on YouTube and you see me like looking like this all the time, because I just want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Also, when I was just trying to figure out when to look back, I've got a bigger spot on my face I can literally see on camera. I was in two minds. I was like, do I bring attention to it? But then I'm like, it's bringing attention to itself. So I might as well address the fact that I know it's there. Do you know, last night, my friend was laughing at me because I went out in a puffer coat. I was in like that jumpsuit, like fully dressed up. And then I put on this massive Zara puffer coat, which I would never usually do. But as I said, my mood was starting to change as I was going out. And I was like, fuck it, I just want to cover up. I want to be cozy. I'm not going to be cold. I'm so glad I did, guys. It absolutely poured down last night. I mean, like literally the heavens opened. And my friend was really drunk, obviously. It was her birthday and stuff. And as we left, she was like, I really want to go to Chippy Lane and get chips. Which, if you don't know Cardiff, Chippy Lane is iconic. It's iconic because Snoop Dogg once tweeted about it, or like said about it in an interview, that when he came to Cardiff, he went there. It's called Chippy Lane. It's basically a street with like just loads of like chip shops and fast food shops either side. And it's just a vibe, and it's really, really good. Anyway, she wanted to go there. We got absolutely soaked. Then she dropped the chips all over my car. But I was so glad for the puffer, and it reminded me that, you know, when I was talking about Stockholm and Cannes, and then I put that little collection of photos on my Instagram, I added one at the end of me in this like green puffer coat, like with my finger up, with the hood up like this, flagging the camera with no context. And I realised I never spoke to you about it. That trip when I went to Stockholm, guys, I didn't have any of my own shoes or any jackets. And we went to Stockholm, I think it was in like June, but it was a little bit cold, like in the nights and stuff. I had no shoes. I remember unpacking and I had 2 odd shoes. Who does that? I've never done that before or since. Pack 2 different heels. Am I mental? So I had to wear my friend's heels all weekend, like change them all weekend. She's a size 5, I'm a size 4. I had no jackets, and I remember it being cold, and this guy gave me his coat, and I put the hood up and stuff, and I just thought I was a rapper and had a photo. So that's what that was about, and seems I've still got that in me. I've actually got a few photos of me in a club. I've got another one outside Drama in London where I've got another guy's coat on with my hood up. Like, what's wrong with me? I have evolved because now I take my own puffer. I think what must have happened is previously I'd be like, I'm going out in a nice jacket. And now with age, I'm like, I actually don't want to be cold and I don't care what I look like. That does happen as you get older, doesn't it? You stop caring about so much about what you look like and you start opting for comfort. I think I might be getting there. Very, very slightly. Just with coats. Like when I was younger, I used to go out up the park, and taking a coat when you were younger for some reason was just the worst possible thing you could do. There was nothing more uncool than having a coat on in winter up that park for some reason. You always had to show your outfit. I don't know if anybody else is like this, but for me, growing up in the valleys, we used to go up the park, up the grandstand, shout out GSM, the grandstand massive. None of us would wear coats. My mother would be shouting at me, you have to put a coat on. And me and Lucy, who's also been on the podcast, she's my cousin and like my friend forever. We used to go down to the little drive, take our coats off, stash them in the bush, and then go out and freeze all night. I used to have severe Raynaud's where like my fingers and toes would go white because of my circulation. And that's what I would do. Like, how mental. Right, I've got a really nice love story for us this week. It's not written in, it's another one that I've seen, but I've got to share it with you. So this woman met this man and fell head over heels in love, but it was back in the day and it was an interracial relationship. So her father would not support it, wouldn't allow it, and even though she loved this man so much, she had to break up with him. So she goes on to live her life, gets married, doesn't have children. He goes on to live his life exactly the same, marries, doesn't have children. And then when this woman is like in her 70s, she's still thinking about this man. She's never stopped thinking about him. She's always felt like he was the love of her life, the one that got away. So she looks him up on Facebook and finds him. And he was actually in a much worse state. So he had quite a hard life. He was homeless, I think. And then he'd had a really bad stroke and he was in a nursing home. So she goes to find him in the nursing home. And there's clips of them seeing each other and meeting each other. And all the feelings just are still there. They all come flooding back. And the connection is still there. And they back in love, even though he can't even communicate properly because he's so ill. But he's still managing to say he loves her, and she's taken him out of the home and now she's his full-time carer. And they're together, and she said even after all these years, she still feels like he's so handsome and she still feels like he's the same person. And when she saw him, it just took her back to when they were younger and in love. How lovely is that? That just shows that if you've got a strong enough connection with somebody, it really doesn't matter how much time passes, what happens. If the connection is strong enough, I believe it'll always be there. And I think you can have that with friends, family, wherever. Not like there's some friends that you can go without seeing for 3, 4, 5 months, however long, or you haven't spoken for a while. And whenever you speak, it's like no time has passed. And I always think that's the best sign of a good relationship. Like, obviously you can always get on with people. It's not to say like, you know, if you get on with, you know, I could meet an ex now and we'd get on. Do you know what I mean? But if you meet an ex or a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while and like all the feelings are still there and you still get that kind of love feeling, or with a friend, you still get excited to speak to them and stuff. I just think that means that you had a really good connection and it never dies. I just thought that was such a nice story. If you have got a story, guys, like a really nice one, please send them in. You can DM me, all the links are below, or send me an email to sadie@lovewhatluck.com. If you've got any stories or any issues, questions, anything you want me to talk about, then please send it in. Also, can I just say how crazy it is to me that people back in the day could not have interracial relationships. Like, I know now racism is still very much out there, still a really big thing. But I think back in the day, I actually think it might have been illegal at one point. It must have been illegal at one point for races to mix in relationships, and I just find that so crazy and so disgusting. So I'm not even going, when I'm saying back in the day, I don't even think it was that long ago. Shall I fact check? For once in my life, shall I actually fact check something? Usually I just spiel out things on you and I never know if they're true. Yeah, interracial marriage in the US has been fully legal since 1967. 1967, that's like in our parents' lifetime. That's in my parents' lifetime. That's really not that long ago. And before that, it was illegal. Like, thank the Lord it's not illegal anymore. And I also feel the same, like, with same-sex marriages and stuff now. They've started to be legalised, haven't they, in the last few years? It's just crazy to me. Anyway, I'm going to stop because I'm really not going down that road today. So yeah, that's it. Back to London next week where I will be recording. So yeah, make sure you send me your stories. God, I have to get back into my routine now. I literally feel like I've been on holidays for so long. Like I said, 'cause I actually was on holidays and then I didn't have much time in reality until I came here. So it's a shock to the system. I hope I don't have another mental breakdown like I did last week. But hopefully we're out of the lunar eclipse. Apparently Mercury's coming into retrograde, so who knows. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Please remember to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, like all the rest of it. Please just come and show me your support if you've done already, and I'll speak to you next week.